Sagittarius.
Like a moth to a flame.
This is your June 2018
Sag.
Part 2 Sag. I know you guys
We didn't forget about
have been wondering what's been going on with you.
What's going on? We left you in that cliffhanger.
We sure did.
We sure did it. We did it. We have lives. Sorry. We were on the go. You were on the go too. You totally understand.
Right. So the thing is that like you aren't crazy. You're being driven crazy.
Oh.
Okay.
So what is going on with who knows a Pisces too? Like
y'all, right? What's
who knows a Pisces? I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of Pisces here.
Y'all know
so somebody who has a Pisces moon, Pisces rising, Pisces sun. What is it with you and Pisces right now? There's something going on there.
If you know someone who is a Pisces, or you know someone who has a Pisces moon, really, because like you have like so many water cards. We were talking about this.
Hey guys.
What's
we're
up?
here.
Yeah.
Sag.
So look, bam.
Okay.
High Priestess.
Now,
there's something that you know.
There is a part 1, just to note, if you guys haven't seen the part 1, you can go back and watch the beginning of your reading. We split you up into 2 sections this month. We're going live again. So yeah, let's get into it. Your immediate influence right now is
the moon.
The moon. Now you did have a full moon in Sagittarius last week. This is moon in Sagittarius.
We did this reading.
So when we started this transition for you, Sun in Gemini, which opposes you, this is what was going on with you. So you guys were kind of already anticipating maybe a little bit of struggle, something that you're struggling with or you're going through. It's not like out in the open.
Right.
It's definitely something that you're just dealing with on your own, or you're dealing with at home and not everybody knows about it. There's just like some kind of conflict going on at home. It could be a roommate, a family member, your husband, wife, lover, children, just some type of conflict that is kind of got you feeling like what's really good.
Right.
You know, okay, these are swords, first of all. So this is, let me clarify something. This is not moon in Sagittarius.
I knew he was going to get to that.
I had to get to it because I'm talking about the moon and I'm talking about Sagittarius, but this is
it's still relevant.
Mars and Gemini.
It's still relevant though, because it's Gemini, right? So then we're in Gemini season during the time of the full moon in Sagittarius. So it's still relevant. It's talking about right now.
Well, one, it's talking about analyzing aggressions, right? Maybe your approach, because you guys sometimes, you know, horses can be very aggressive and can be very intimidating.
Sometimes.
Maybe even to your lover.
Right. Sometimes it's like, you know, with mutable signs, it's almost like they're all over the place a little bit in whatever element it is that they like exist in. But then it's like sometimes you have to like really slow it down a little bit so that you can actually communicate well with people. You know what I mean? And with mutable signs, I feel like they like to initiate things, but you have to actually you have to like herd them in, right? For them to initiate something new, right? And just to focus on that one thing to initiate. Yeah.
Just a quick little recap. We talked about how something did initiate for you in your spirit in the past. This is very like Aries energy. It could be just like that fiery spark in general and the first initiations of growth. It could have been a new relationship. It could have been a new feeling in your relationship. It could have been a new version of your job, a new idea that you had that spark. This is around April time. So you should already be relating to this. It already happened.
Right.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
You moved in with your mate. They moved in with you, or you started something new. You got a new promotion. You felt new about something. You started improving yourself in some new way. That type of thing.
You may have slept with someone before you actually gotten a chance to really know them. You know what I mean? Because the Ace of Rods could just be like action,
physical,
pure physical action.
It was an impulse. It was like a one-night stand kind of thing. Maybe even you could be even intimidated by the idea of a relationship.
Right.
So that's like, possible too.
It's like, you know, when people get in relationships.
Just kind of like the time and ritualism of it. It's like the sharing, especially if you just moved in. You're kind of like, does that mean I have to do this? You said facts. Facts,
you know, sometimes it's like the candle just went out too. It's like sometimes with the Knight of Pentacles, this energy is very slow, heavy, moving forward. And sometimes when we think about ourselves materializing a relationship with someone else, we kind of like get a little bit spooked by the reality. Be careful of the wax. By the reality of like what that means after that, right? We've created something that people can see. We are a couple now. People expect us to come to parties together, to do things together, to be seen together. So there's some pressure within that, right? Just like there's some pressure from the Knights, right? The intimidation factor of the materialization of this relationship.
Right.
Hello.
Yeah, there's definitely something to do with like the ritualism of it too. It's like okay, so Jupiter, your ruler, just to recap, has been in Scorpio all year pretty much since October. And it's going to be there until like September because Jupiter spends about a year in each sign, 13 months, about 4 months retrograde. It's in retrograde right now.
I'm so ready.
So first of all, those feelings inside, you guys feel like you've been having a very emotional year somehow. Yeah. Like a lot of people don't even know the stuff that you've kind of gone through. Maybe it's family stuff or stuff to do with your body or just different offenses that you deal with that you don't communicate well. Well, it's because you're dealing with these scorns. You're dealing with Scorpio energy, and Jupiter expands everything that it touches. So that means it expands these feelings. It expands these, whatever these deeper emotions are. And a lot of what you've been dealing with too is like, how are you making this idea of like what you feel family is working for you? Because you want to live your life, doing your career, traveling, being fierce, burning shit the fuck up. But at the same time, you want to feel loved and nurtured. You know, you want to come home to someone. Everybody wants to come home to something after they've done all of the things that they've done and had all the adventures that they've had. It's like, you know, so there's definitely a water sign that could be in your life that you're thinking about. Remember, I always say, check the moons of your lovers because that's really what you're dealing with in your love relationships. You're dealing with the moons a lot and with their Venus placement.
Now, if the person that you're dating is like, why are you asking me this information? Just be like, oh my God, I want to like look at your birth chart just to see like where your planets are. They'll be interested in it, right? So it's like, you know, look at it, see where it goes, and also look at that rising too, because sometimes the risings will be compatible with something.
Right, because your rising is really important as far as just how you exist. Right. Let's get to your anxieties.
Let's get to the anxieties, honey. So you've got anxieties in the realm of Saturn and Libra. Karmic lessons through your relationships that are squeezing you so tightly until you say uncle, which means that you've learned. Okay?
Okay.
And you're a Sagittarius too. So you don't want to be tied nothing.
Sag. Don't make me. Don't tell me what to do. Right? Sag. First of all, this is the heart. So it's got to do with Saturn. You know what Saturn likes to do? He likes to slow things down. Right. So this could be like a discomfort emotionally that you've dealt with for years even. It doesn't necessarily even have to do with your present lover. It has to do with your feelings of heart loss personally throughout time, which is an illusion, time, right? So it's like, have you dealt right? Have you dealt with these restrictions in your life? Because then when something comes up, right, even if the thing is over, when something comes up and we find that new love and that new spirit, we still have to deal with the situations from the past because a situation is going to come up that sparks that. And then all of a sudden you're being tested again in this new way. And it's not going to be fair to treat this new person in these old offenses from this other person. Now this other person is getting all the heat and backlash from a past experience, right? Intimidations, right? So it's just about making sure that, you know, one, you're letting go because you did have the hermit energy here as your sun. Yes. So there's a progressiveness that needs to happen, and it's in your day-to-day. It's like a day-to-day sixth house kind of thing. How you communicate with your spouse, how you communicate with your significant other, and like sharing of emotions. Like you're learning how to maybe even be more sensitive to because you're so spirited. So when you feel something, man, you feel it, and that's it. And that's like what makes you magnetic, because it's like, you know, you're not really the type of person to be really just thinking about somebody else's emotions, but you're starting to learn what it means to really share.
If there are some guys out there watching this video, it's almost like you have a lot of, you put your passionate energy in many different places, right? That's why it's mutable, you know? And the reason why you have the Three of Swords here is because when you know people, or when you get to know people, they're going to create disturbances for you, right? And you may feel like anxious, because this is a Libran card, to get out of a situation that you've been in with someone for a long period of time. So you have anxieties in regards to the time that this is taking to sever this relationship with this person. But that's Saturn working, right? Because Libras take a long time to make a decision. You could be taking a long time to make a decision, and Saturn is actually what is influencing that time that it's taking for you to make that decision. It's the exaltation of it.
Right. It's like, what lesson are you getting out of this? I mean, it could literally be a Libra broke your heart. That could be really literal, you know, but more or less it's talking about the anxieties of a relationship in general. And you're thinking about what's fair, because Libra's always talking about the justice behind it, the logics behind why I feel the way I feel now.
You want to know why, right?
But in that, it's like, is this is a purge that has to happen, because you do have the Ace of Rods coming. So this is beautiful, because this is talking about new feelings and new initiations coming in, right? This is exactly what you need. It's like the new love coming in, right? And it could be the same person in a new version of that love, or it's like, because you are learning lessons about love.
Right, you definitely are. You're considering other people's feelings, right?
Because that fish and what that fish needs in that cup. It's not in the water.
Right. It's like you're having the realization that other people have feelings too. And you're having the realization that you have feelings, right? Because you're realizing through other people what feelings are. Okay? You have the ability to come off a little bit harsh sometimes, and you throw people off in the very beginning of meeting you, right? Because it's like
that truth thing again.
Right. It's also
truth for truth's sake.
The intimidation of like that horse factor, right? Sometimes you intimidate people, and they take a moment to warm up to you, and you take a moment to warm up to them. Have you ever gotten on a horse? It's like when people get on a horse the first time, they are so intimidated by just like the existence of such a large and beautiful beast, right? So it's like once the horse warms up to you, and once you warm up to the energy of the horse, you can then, you know, mount the horse, which is a form of communication through body language. And then you're on the horse, right? So then you're going, you're telling the horse what to do with different clicks of your heels, or different, you know, pats of whatever it is, what they use. I'm trying to be soft. I'm a Libra. The whip and the chains, or whatever it is.
Let's make beats. I was like listening to you just then. You said you're an unrequited love with a Pisces, and yeah, I'm getting that. Yeah, that's that. There you go with that Mars and Gemini energy, right? And the challenge is the Pisces. But I'm getting that there are lessons in this heartache, and through this heart loss, there's a transformation of like new love. You know, new initiations. And it could be a new person or a new feelings with yourself that you learn. There's like a new understanding. Yeah.
Connie, you know, sometimes you have to have that energy of intimidation sometimes, and it's really confidence. Now, we don't want to confuse intimidation and confidence, right? It's like you want to have a clear mind and a clear head of how you're communicating with people and how it's coming across.
This is about being firm but tolerant right here. This is like air on air, right? Because the kings are air, and they're fixed in what they know. So this is a mind that's really not changing.
Right.
This is very Aquarius, right? And then you have the sword there as well. So it's like the focus and the air. It's being firm but tolerant. It's about like weighing things and seeing them for what they are. This is somebody who has a really strong business acumen as well. So if you've got some type of business desire, you definitely should put more focus into that. But also, this could be a Libra, once again, and talking about a relationship with a Libra. Some of you need to put more aggression into getting closure in that situation. Or it could say putting more aggression into a relationship. Maybe you haven't put in enough aggression into the relationship.
Some of you are dealing with a Gemini because you have a Gemini card here with the moon over it as the immediate influence. This King of Swords card is also like, it's fixed air, but then you have to also remember that air is air, so it's objective. So he's fixed in the position of not changing that he's going to be objective.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what that means? So this is like almost all of the air signs in one card. Someone is embodying this.
Mm-hmm.
Spent 20 with Libra, 20 days, 20 months,
20 years. Yeah.
Okay, that's a long time.
This is also talking about weighing things and being fair. So you should put aggression into that, right? The discernment of it, right? Even though you're fixed in what you know to be true, it's like also being flexible.
He's dealing with it, right?
Because what do you want to do? You want to share. You want to share your emotions, right? You guys want to experience the flowers together. There are flowers there. You're going to pass by the red? No, you're communicating emotions, communicating love. And even if it's anger, even, it's like you've seen this coming. You've seen this situation coming from a distance. Now you're going to have to deal with it. You need to deal with it, right? Especially if you're here and you're feeling like this. Because the next is Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is really talking about spiritually going in and seeing, like, taking into account what you can and cannot do in this situation, what you're responsible for. It's not about placing blame in the situation. It's taking control of what you're responsible for and then making peace with the restrictions that might be there because of your mate or because of a situation that you feel somehow, even in business, and intertwined with.
Right. This card right here is in your Mars position. So I feel like a lot of times this card could be like, or at this point, belief and faith in like prosperity, right? It's like the ability to understand that things can change and they will. And the ability to understand that things can change for the better or they could get worse. And it really is what your perspective is, right? Like in the worst of times, if you change your perspective about things,
you do know.
Then things will change. Exactly.
You really do know. As far as the intuition in the matter is concerned, that's probably why your mind is fixed on it in a certain way.
Right.
Whatever this thing that you're quietly, because if it's not a Pisces, it's definitely something either in your body or something that's secret. It could be like family or just something that you're dealing with at home that nobody knows about. It could be any of those realms.
Right. And you guys have like
the relationship.
You guys have that ability to sort of like, it's like dry heat with you guys. You know what I mean? It's like really dry.
The challenge in finding your soulmate. And feeling like that's what it is. You know how much energy it takes to settle a horse down? Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it takes like several people, not just one person to ring it all in and to get them to commit and ring it down and calm down now. Calm down.
That's what I meant. Calm down. That's what I meant at the beginning of the reading when I was like, you guys are actively pursuing many things at one time, right? It's like spoken out of energy, right? Action. So it's like, it's hard to actually get you to like calm that down, And
I think you're learning now. You're being more aware.
That's why you're here.
Being more aware, because you're like, if I don't consider all aspects, then I'm going to get to a situation, where I'm here, where I'm in this place here. Why am I hurt by this person? Or why is this person hurting me? Or how did my actions even hurt this person? Like, what did I do to offend you?
That's actually what you're dealing with, right? You're dealing with the present right now, the Nine of Swords, yes? And this is what you're rising to, yes? This is what you're considering. This is how you're entering the reading, too. Consideration of other people's feelings and emotions and how you respond to them and what your emotions are.
These nines.
Right?
And these court cards that are mature.
Right,
So you have some ones and some nines. So there's a lot of new initiations as some things are ending. So some of you might be in between like 2 relationships too. Like some of you
you're dating other people, you know.
Yeah, you're dating more than one person, you know, and you could be like having some tensions in that situation. Or there's like someone that like is a family member in your life that is causing a lot of like strife or intimidation somehow.
I'm getting something, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting like, you know, it could even be like something that you've been seeing coming from a distance. It's something that's been growing, or you anticipated that this kind of combative thing was going to happen.
Oh, Dana.
And now there's causing new strife or new emotions, because this could be new love for some people, or this could just be a new situation.
Definitely.
Because just like a new situation that could be intimidating somehow.
I'm getting that someone expressed this to you.
Maybe they weren't mature.
Someone expressed this to you, right? But it was like a new person. That's the youthful quality of this card in this scenario. That's the freshness of it.
It is mutable like that. Like, it's ready.
Right. Someone expressed something to you, you know, which initiated this like
this new
spirited energy, this new fire.
Or you're in a new situation where somebody was able to express this to you.
Exactly,
new job, new situation.
Yeah. And so now now you're dealing with this offering or this expression, the initiation of this expression. Yes.
Or that long distance phone call. You are Sagittarius. You could do some long distance. Well, y'all be busy.
You're processing it now because, you know, the information that they gave you, you're realizing that it has actually, the dots are being connected, right? You're sort of anxious over it because you don't want it to go, you know, the wrong way, I feel.
You don't want it to be tainted either. Right. Some of you are being very critical with this Virgo energy here about how you want it to be.
Right.
And maybe it's because you want it to be not like the other things, like coming out of the Leo into the Virgo energy. You feel like, oh, I just listened to my heart, my passions before, and I got hurt, or I got this situation happened, and now you're trying to have an order to it, and you're being maybe too critical, and you need to not be as critical. You know, you guys can be flexible, but sometimes you do, like the horse does have to be like, really have to have the focus, you know, because there's so much passion and mature, you know, so much energy that needs to be channeled, right? It's about channeling the energy.
Right. And I feel like you guys don't want to lose focus or lose sight of like this opportunity of, you know.
Yes, I'm particular and thus single. Yes, critical.
Of course you are. It's like, and also, you know, it's almost like Sagittarius because they are so exposed to having many learning experiences through like just going out and venturing out. They almost feel like sometimes people can't tell them anything. So it's like the opinion that you give to them, it almost might like be rejected. Yes.
It's only when you stop learning that you begin to know.
Right.
Right. So it's like if you once you stop learning, then you know everything. And I was already talking about this before, but I'm like, it's like grandma and granddad. At the end, we love you, grandma and granddad, but you know, grandma and granddad just have to die after a while. Like not in that sense not in the sense of anything like horrible, but it's like they're not going to change their ways after a certain point. You don't even expect them to. You know what I mean? They're so stubborn and so sure from all of the experiences that they have had that this is how life is. Even though there's so many opportunities for that to change, they stop seeing those opportunities because they know now, because life has made them this way, which means now you're not open to learning new things, right?
There are a few people, you know, there's a fraction of people, and we know
it's harder to be flexible.
It's like people like Edith Head or like a Harvey Weinstein or like a John Waters, RuPaul. Those are people that are able to like
Andy Warhol.
Well, he's not alive anymore.
Well, no, those are examples.
Those examples, people who can like transform with like the time. So those are the type of people when they get older, their minds will still be very objective. They'll be set in some of their ways, but they have this special sense about them that they can like adapt as like time changes. So when they get older, they're those eccentric people that still are doing like social media things.
We want to age like Michelle Pfeiffer.
Like very bright clothing,
Michelle Pfeiffer
eccentric necklaces, pieces. They're still going out to like, you know, soirees at galleries, the arts world. They still know people that are young. They start to mentor young people. So there are older people that are still hip to the groove.
But those people are also a lot of people who have made a lot of sacrifices in love sometimes, which is something that Sag has to do a lot because you guys are so magnetic. Your jobs usually are very demanding a lot of the times, which is something that you want and desire as well because you have that endurance and that passion. So you very much need a mate that understands that. And that can cause a lot of intimidation. That can cause a lot of strife and intimidation. You know, just because it's like you gotta connect with people who are on that energy level with you.
Right.
This
is your advice here. It's the Hierophant.
Commit.
Commit.
For some of you who don't want to, you know, or just put work into this relationship more.
It's like, right.
Is there a Taurus that you could learn something from?
Is there a Taurus that you can learn something from? You know, maybe you're seeking
about
advice.
What you have.
Maybe there's a friend who's a Taurus that you're going to seek some advice from, or they're going to give you their perspective on this situation. Also, I feel like you guys should listen to, you know, your inner ear. It's like listen to like what you are confidently being told by your intuition. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's like those things that are sort of like constantly on your mind. Like Taurus is sort of like constantly on the ground. Right?
Are you thinking about finances a lot right now? Or maybe you should be just thinking about like your routines, thinking about your commitments. You know, this also 5 is talking about like establishments.
Thank you, Leslie.
It's talking about looking at the spiritual over the physical as well.
Right. Yeah.
Like sometimes we get really caught up in the physical about things, and you guys are very passionate and magnetic. So attracting people isn't really that naturally that hard for you. Getting what you want can be, depending on what it is that you want.
Right.
But like attracting, right. But attracting things is not very challenging at all. So it's kind of like in this aspect, it's like, what are you attracting?
Right.
Right. And what ritualisms do you have? Right. What are you willing to commit to? Because in that place of commitment is where you're going to really flourish in these emotions.
Right.
Right. Because this is like the long struggle of night. Right. So this is kind of like home life stuff too, in a sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's definitely talking about, you know, in this relationship with this person, maybe you need to think about like what you're grateful for, why you connect. You know, what is it that you're going to learn from this situation? Right. Somebody might be being too stubborn, right? Because, you know, Sagittarius and Taurus, those are two strong animals who are not really going to really let up, you know, in the situation.
Think about what the motto of Taurus is, I have. So what you have, that's based on what you want and what you need. So think about what you want. Think about what you need. Think about what you have. Do you want more? Can you appreciate what you already have? Can you purge some things? Can you donate to some institutions? Salvation Army, Goodwill, that type of stuff. That might even make you feel better. You know, it's those little acts of giving, because Taurus is around giving. You know, I'm giving you like 6 of Pentacles energy right here, but that's still Taurus. You know, it's like thinking of all of those things that embody Taurus. This is your advice.
It's a very physical card. So if some of you feel like you've been very mental right now, it's like, stop it. Just stop and just get to a place where you think about what is actually there. Start focusing on the touch of things. Start focusing on what's physically there. And that'll start recharging you and driving you. It's springtime right now. This is Taurus season. That's May, spring. Go outside. Be outdoors. You know you need to be outdoors. That's Sag.
Some of you might be worried about some investments that you've made.
Yeah, very much so. And as far as business is concerned, and it's saying, you know, you've got your mind fixed on something. Look at that paperwork. Look at those documents. Make sure you cross every I and dot every T, and put more like have that be a safe haven for you. Your routine. If you have a structure that you feel like you're being restless with because you are a Sagittarius and you will get bored even though you're doing something you love, you want to definitely look and be grateful for what you have as far as the ritualism is concerned. If you have a good job right now, like be happy with that job. Be happy, be grateful for some of these things. And it might spark new passions. Or you might have some new passions that come in once you start dealing with like the heart loss And just the idea of committing and trusting, maybe some of you are having some trust issues and you really like, now is the time that, because this is like marriage. The advice is the marriage, right? The advice is signing the contract. The advice is the commitment to whatever it is, the solidifying of it. So the emperor built it. Now the Hierophant is saying, fill it up. Fill it out with people. What is this? This is a Foot Locker. Okay, let's get some people in here and sell some shoes. Oh, this is a church. Let's get some people in here on these pews. Let's pray.
Connie, you've got to trust some things, because it's like Saturn in Libra teaches you that you need to trust in order to be able to move forward. It's like, how can you cross the bridge if you don't trust that it's going to, not collapse? You've got to go across the bridge.
What's going on in the outcome?
What's going on in the outcome, honeys? The Empress.
The Empress. Express yourself.
Right.
I'll do it.
So this is really you expressing yourself, like you just said.
Go on and do it.
Right. It's like Saturn and Libra
and
the Hierophant being in the same reading together is telling me that
you
guys are gaining wisdom
from what
Saturn is teaching you, right?
Yeah.
It's like Venus, which is in Cancer right now, but we are in the season of relationships for you. So how are you going to build those lasting relationships? Your advice, what you have. I have lasting relationships right now with Mercury, communication, and the Sun, identity, being in your house of relationships. Okay? The 7th house. Contracts, bonds, money.
So this is very like, your need to express. And now you're thinking about, like I said before, not just the two of you. You're thinking about the two of you in space and time. The two of you traveling places, the two of you doing things, if the two of you want to have children, if there are children, you're thinking about them. This is very like, if you're thinking about getting pregnant, it could happen very soon. This type of thing. It's very like, self-expression, the expansion out of self. 1, 2, 3. But it is a little bit of a waiting period here as well. So it's not the actual construction. It's more or less just the being. It's not the doing. You're not out doing. It's like based on all of this water again. It's yin, which you are very yang. So it's almost like, but there's a deep part of you that's yin, right? Which is the spiritual part of you, which is like the part of you that intuitively knows. You hear the stories all the time with the horse. He always knows. And the master riding on the horse or the cow, they don't want to listen to him. The horse is saying, no. He's saying, what's wrong, horse? Because like you're sad, So it's like this type of like, that type of intuitive energy where you're kind of like, really kind of getting, I feel like some of you are really getting ready to like establish some really solid things in your life. If it's the love that you've always wanted, it could be very much that.
You do have,
or it's like your work, something to do with work that could be really satisfying for you. That final notch of like entrepreneurism or something that makes you feel like really you're expressing yourself and you're being seen in the way that you want to be seen, right? Because the Empress, she just is. And you have the High Priestess there.
I think this card right here is kind of like you letting nature take its course. And you're letting nature take its course because you actually feel and know, and you can see with your intuitive mind, your intuitive eye, what the possibilities are. This is a creative force inside, right? It is a waiting period. Nature taking its course.
Right.
You're allowing things to happen so that something can come into formation out of that. But it's also having the faith, right? That everything is going to be okay. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. This is a very positive card in the sense that it's saying that there is room to grow. There is room for change. There is room for newness. And you guys need that. I mean, my mom's a Sagittarius. I remember it's totally the type of thing. We come home one day and the couch is in a different place with the table moved around somewhere.
Beautiful
and everything
signs.
like beautiful sign. You just had to move it. She just had to move it. She just had to make the change. So it's like, the freshness in the relationship or in the domesticity is very important to you because you're learning a lot now about what it means to like share your space in your heart and like to really put faith in someone else, because you can't do everything on your own, because you want to feel connected to people and you want to feel love coming in. If it was just a goal you could do, then fine. But it's not like that. You're working with people, if it's an establishment, and trying to build the whole team up, not just you. Or if it's like something to do with family or with your lover, you're not trying to just leave them behind, and whatever it is that you want to do, you have to consider all angles. So those are the lessons about maturity and sharing love here.
Who knows a Pisces? Because I was like,
I mean, the Pisces card is everywhere.
Card, right? I was like, we're honoring Pisces.
But that's also Pisces' deepest desire is to find their soulmate.
Right.
So this could be very much talking about, because it's so relationship heavy for you. It could be talking about that. Make sure that you are really being appreciative of what you have, and like you're not missing out on an opportunity, like expressing yourself fully and not just in a sexual way. Like look at the feelings, right?
We did Pisces today, which, you know, is ruled by Neptune. This is the Hangman. We're doing you. Right. You're ruled by Jupiter. So is Pisces. You're both mutable. It's interesting that we did both of you guys today. But, you know, this is also telling you, reiterating, let nature take its course. Right?
Right. Well, this is Neptune, so it's like, it could be like divinity in that sense, or it could be like illusions, right? And like some illusions that are being revealed, you know, especially when it comes to dealing with Pisces, that's like the subconscious, where like you're so much more like, just tell me what it is. Let's say it is what it is. Let's put it out there. Blowtorch, and like, I'm going to deal with the debris after I know the facts. And Pisces is like, I'm going to drop this crumb, and then I'm going to initiate, and then they might know this little thing, you know, over time about me. You know,
like she can see behind the curtain. She knows what's back there, right? And it's like, if I were to take the card that's next on top of the deck, what she is seeing is the Hanged Man, right? Neptune. It's like
a sacrifice.
It's that sacrifice. It's knowing that there is a force that is so much greater than you that it cannot be reached. Yes, so you have to relinquish that control, the Hanged Man.
It's also learning from this transition, whatever it is that makes you might make you feel like you're being in a bin right now. You guys are a horse, you're race horses. There are many type of horses. You're wild horses, whatever, racing horses. But right now they've got you in this thing, right? Mr. Ed, right? You're trying to get out. And eventually that's going to happen where you are let out.
A Dutch farm door or whatever.
Yeah, one of those stores. And when you are let out, but what are you learning while you're in? You know what I mean? What are you learning while you're in this situation where, you know, you can't move? That's what the Hanged Man is talking about.
Right.
As long as you're learning something from this situation of what you thought was isn't, then when it is time to act, right, you'll know what to do. You'll really know how to commit to whatever it is, because you'll know already.
Right.
Right?
Let's Make Beat says, been delving into figuring out my subconscious mind, seeing the illusions that I've been attached to and cutting them away. Been thinking about letting go and surrendering. Wow. Yeah, good. That's the Hanged Man.
Pisces is the 12th house, and there's a lot of Pisces here. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean you're dealing with the Pisces. It's like there could be advice there.
Right.
The way that, you know, because Pisces is a progression from you. Mm-hmm. And so there are things that is within them that they do understand about you. But do you understand those things as well? Right. There are always things to learn. And like I said, it's really hard to slow a horse down once you really feel really passionate about something, right? So it's like, you know, take that time. There is letting go that's going on in a major way.
Capricorn is in your second house right now with Pluto, and they're both retrograde. So you guys might be feeling a little bit restricted in like being able to cleanse yourself of energy, being able to transform something or transform from something. And I feel like you guys might be feeling a little bit stagnant in your ability and your efforts to sort of move forward with Saturn being there in retrograde. It's like that Capricorn energy of exceeding and, you know, moving forward and getting to the next stage and, you know, consumption of resources in order to grow is like, you guys feel a little bit stagnant there. It's like you have these things that you are working with, but it's like you want to move forward from that. You're not able to do it right now, but you will. You know, those planets are going to be going retrograde. Think about like the summer and going into the fall, like late,
be fluid.
Late
Don't
summer,
be rigid now.
Early fall, beginning of Libra season, like in the 20s.
New emotions will be coming in once Jupiter goes direct. Yeah, you guys will
in November.
Yeah. Well, Jupiter is going direct in
July.
I thought
you meant like changing signs.
Yeah, he'll be like he's in retrograde right now.
He's in retrograde.
He's in retrograde in Scorpio, and he'll be going direct in Cancer, right? Which is the home life and the emotions there, and if there's anything to do with the body, anything like that going on with your family, your mother, anything like that, it'll start to smooth over a little bit more.
You mean like
the fluid, the currency even will flow even better, right? Because Jupiter he's not necessarily expanding right now. He's revising things. He's really looking at things, especially deeper scorns and the ability to share emotionally this type of thing of what? Survival, all of that. That's Scorpio energy. Also hidden matters.
That's in your 12th house.
And Neptune being there could have been some reveals. Maybe you signed some contracts, some things happened that you didn't anticipate with business or love. And so now, you're learning your lessons and new emotions will come in. It's going to be all right. We'll check in with you guys next month.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
You should get ready for, just prepare yourself for Jupiter coming into your sign because there's a lot of things that you'll be able to take.
Yes, that'll be in November. That's what he was talking about.
There are a lot of things that you'll be able to take advantage of then. So if there's any projects that you have going on right now, you might feel like there's a blockage there because it's not moving forward in the way that you wanted it to. For some Scorpios, it's like that too. You know what I mean? They're right next to you. Some of you might be on the cusp, between the two. So if there's like something that you're trying to like get going or like an investment and it seems like it's not really moving forward, it will move forward. And Jupiter is going to be there next year to bring you luck in the way that, as long as you don't have anything heavy going on to be expanded in, everything that you have that is positive for you, Jupiter is going to expand that too. It's just like what you do with it. But don't take on too much next year. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to do stuff and go and do things. This could even mean just like meeting someone and like going out all the time and going to a lot of expensive dinners and that type of thing, or going to a lot of shows, or maybe somebody will get married. It's like, those types of things. It's not one kind of way that Jupiter affects people. It's like whatever you have going on. I'm waiting for my manuscript, The Ghost of the Red Sandstone, on to peer review and then go on to publishing. Connie, you have a lot going on. Sagittarius, honey. Good luck with your promotion. Or not promotion, but you're doing like a presentation at work. Good luck with that. I think we're gonna go. Are we going?
I think we're gonna go. This was part 2. I think it's enough for now.
Right.
So go in and check part 1.
It's okay.
Right. And like you can get the rest of like the beginning, but you can tie it all in together. And we will be seeing you guys once, either right before, or we might try to time it like right when Jupiter goes direct. So you might get yours a little later. We'll see. I will be out of town at the beginning of July. Yeah. So you guys probably sometime in July, we may do them before, and then we'll just check in with you guys because that is like a very like significant thing for you, Jupiter going direct again. But yeah. Go ahead and look at those ritualisms. Express yourself. You got this. We love you so much.
Good luck with everything, you guys.
Yeah, communicate. And also, get out there.
Also, remember, if you want a private reading, email providencetarot@gmail.com.
Right.
Follow us on Instagram. It's @providencetarot.
We do half-hour readings, hour readings. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a 75-minute special reading right now. So just email us. We'll give you guys the rates and everything. Everything's providencetarot@gmail.com.
Also, very important. If you're going to do FaceTime with us, we need to know what avenue we're going to use to do that. Like, is it going to be WhatsApp? Is it going to be FaceTime on the iPhone? Is it going to be FaceTime on Facebook Messenger? We need to know that before. Also, Once your reading is paid for, we will process the payment, and then we will determine with you what your schedule will allow and what our schedules will allow.
Right.
Sometimes.
So you pay first, that confirms the appointment, and then we fight to make it work with you, obviously, because we're two people. Right. And most of you want us together, so we've got to work it out in our schedule.
We've got to work it out in our schedule. So, just know that eventually we will come to a point where we will have to raise the prices.
Right, that'll be happening next month. So, basically, he's trying to let you know, look, because
if you want that reading at these prices,
get it at this price that we're offering now. Right. So you can get your reading in, and then you can do your checkups or whatever later on. You can spread it out a little bit. Get your initial reading in now while it's at this good price. Right. Because then the prices are going to go up. Right. We do group stuff. If you guys are in New York, we do have group rates for events, different stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're here based in New York City. So you can have an in-person reading with us, or we do appointment. Everything is appointment based, and we need you to confirm through Venmo or PayPal or whatever. We work it out with you. Okay.
We have Cash App too. So if you guys are in some other country and maybe you only have Cash App, that's cool too.
All right. Love you. Love you. Bye.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye. Love you. Bye.